Power to the truth. This is Margo. This is Wednesday, February 6th, 2019. It's 4:14 p.m. Pacific Time, United States of America. So we have another new day's worth of data from CAMS today that I'm going to show you. Then I've got some articles that I want to share. And then we'll go over comments, and then we'll do our earthquake report. It'll be a full show. So I'd like to thank everyone who's joining me, and to sit back and let's see what's going on. So what we have here is the Copernicus Atmosphere Monitoring Services website. Yesterday we saw new data for Saturday the 2nd and Sunday the 3rd, and then they took Friday off, and so they left Saturday and Sunday, and now we've got new data for Monday the 4th. I've got the Arctic area pulled up, and the level is surface level. So this is where we left off from Sunday, with this release coming up in the Atlantic Ocean between Norway and Greenland, and then this continued heavy release in the Kara Sea, and then this release coming across from the Chukchi Sea, and then this building in Russia, a huge building, and this building in Norway, the Norwegian, the Scandinavian countries, and a release. So I've loaded up this movie, and so let's see what we're dealing with here. It's a little jerky the first time through, and then it will smooth out. So after Monday, it goes into the forecast period for Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. The forecast period is pretty accurate the closer it is to the day of the data. So here it is at the end of Monday, and it's still building in this Norway area and building in Russia is what we're seeing. We're seeing a little bit of reddish orange coming up over here out of the Chukchi Sea. And remember that that's coming up through the ice. There's ice here, there's ice over here, and this is Svalbard. There's a little bit of ice up here. So I don't know why it stopped. Guess they don't want me showing this. Hang on. Okay, I refreshed the page and reloaded the movie. So here we are at the end of Monday, showing what's going on here. And considering it's still winter time up there, it's still dark, and this is coming up through the sea ice. It's pretty disturbing. Look at it coming across from Svalbard, and here's the release starting on Wednesday from the Norway area, and now look at it moving off of the land in Russia out into the Kara Sea. So let's watch that through again. Okay, now we're into Thursday in the forecast period. The release has happened from Norway, and it's now it's releasing less as it's coming up out of the ocean, but it's headed right towards Svalbard. And now watch this Russia area. Watch this. Look at that. You see that? So that whole thing just finished releasing at the end of the forecast period. And then it's releasing down here in the Atlantic. So there's that. And then I have the global view pulled up for Monday with the base time and surface level again. And I've loaded this movie up. Let's see if it's going to cooperate for us. And now we can see it from a different perspective. It'll smooth out after the first time through, after it loads. So the big difference I'm seeing from the this North America area and the other side, this eastern side, is the background color is up in this orangey and reddish color in a lot of the areas, as opposed to the background color mainly being green and in the blues over here in North America. So just to get a perspective, that background color that we're looking at, this kind of goldish color, is 2060 parts per billion. That when it goes into the orangey color, it's 2080 parts per billion. Then when it goes into red, it's 2100 parts per billion. So, and then like this brick red starts at 2140 parts per billion, and this dark brown is anywhere from 2140 parts per billion to 10,000 parts per billion. And we've been talking about the huge release from China and Asia and northern India, and we just saw an article yesterday about the air quality in Mongolia being so bad that they send the kids out to live with their relatives out in the country so they can get well, breathe some clean air. It's so sad. I mean, I'm just heartbroken, and it's not easy to do this reporting every single day. And but we need to see this. Now I want to show 500 HPA, which is about 18,000 feet. It's about halfway up in the atmosphere. A lot of climate scientists like to use that level to see. And we can see the methane spreads out and is gathered over the northern part of the northern hemisphere, and especially over the Arctic, and it's darker all over the place. So, I think it's important that we keep looking at what's happening on a day-by-day basis, if I can keep up the pace. And I'm showing the signs because these are the signs, and we are in the end times, and it's awful what's happening around the world, and it just breaks my heart. So look at this. This is at 500 HPA. Look at this over the Mediterranean area. Now that's where, look, oh, it's moving from Africa over. You can see it moving and then wave. This is how it moves in the atmosphere. And it's not great down here. I mean, look, we've got the orangey background color up here, and then it moves into green as you move down into Mexico, Central America, and down into South America, and then it goes back up to the yellowy, and then green for the rest of the mid-latitudes. And that's high too. I mean, this chartreuse is 2,000 parts per billion. And see the green moving across the southern area. That's about 1920 to 1940 and 1960 parts per billion. So let's leave that. And we'll put that as a backdrop. And now let's go to our articles. And the first thing I'm going to cover, I've covered this before, but we're going to talk a little bit more about 5G. And I mean, this is in everybody's attention. There are lots of articles about 5G and how it's a massive health experiment and it could cause cancer and global catastrophe. And so, you know, people can fight against it all they want, but it's happening. It's going to happen. It's, you know, it's in the works. It's part of what they have to do to put the plan in. And it's a satanic plan by the dark satanic mind, and the people running it are I don't believe they're human. I think they're an alien race that has infiltrated the human race down here, and I seriously don't think they're human. And the sooner it ends, the better in my mind. So this article is from Zero Hedge by Tyler Durden from the 5th, yesterday the 5th. But it was authored by Max Slavo via shtfplan.com. So experts are warning that superfast broadband known as 5G could cause cancer in humans, and the usage of 5G is nothing more than a massive health experiment. 5G could very well be a global catastrophe that kills wildlife, gives people terminal diseases, and causes the Earth's magnetic field to change, according to shocking claims by a technology expert. Now, I had not heard that about the magnetic field changing as a result, but it makes sense. Arthur Robert Furstenberg is an American author and an activist for electromagnetic radiation and health. In his 1997 book, Microwaving Our Planet, The Environmental Impact of the Wireless Revolution, he claimed the telecommunications industry has suppressed damaging evidence about its technology since at least 1927. So, you know, that's 90 years, over 90 years ago. Well, it was at the beginning. Furstenberg has also founded the independent campaign group, the Cellular Phone Task Force, and since 1996 he has argued in numerous publications that wireless technology is dangerous. According to a report by the Daily Star, Furstenberg has also recently started an online petition calling on world organizations such as the United Nations, World Health Organization, and European Union to urgently halt the development of 5G, which is due to be rolled out this year. In fact, Verizon has activated the world's first 5G networks in 4 cities in the United States: Houston, Indianapolis, Los Angeles, and Sacramento. Let me just stop right there. All the wireless networks are rolling out 5G, not just Verizon. They all are. And I know for a fact that Reno, they rolled it out here in Reno about a year ago, and I could tell that something was different. And every time I go out, I see new evidence. The towers are up there, and nobody asked. Nobody told us it was going to happen, and nobody asked, and they just did it because the FCC has approved it, and the military wants it. It's part of the globalist plan, and it's going to happen. And so, you know, I can't even read this kind of stuff because it just breaks my heart, because I've already seen what has happened with climate change and how so many scientists around the planet have screamed about what's happening and how we got to fix it and we got to do this and got to do that, and nothing happened. And the same with nuclear, and nothing happened. And instead, whatever they fight against is what the dark side is going to do. And so it is just the way it is. And they have to put up all these satellites in outer space because they got to put up 300,000 new antenna in the United States to run these microwaves, and they've got to put up 20,000 satellites in the atmosphere. I already did a whole couple of shows on this, and I'm not going to redo all of that. You can go back and look in my old shows, and I talk about it. I don't know, it was about a month or 2 ago. And it's a global catastrophe, etc., etc. People are getting sick. Well, birds are falling down dead just out of the sky because their hearts stop wherever they're testing 5G. The birds just fall down dead. I mean, I've seen articles like that. And yeah, it's killing everything. And so if abrupt climate change doesn't get us, and if a nuclear winter or something doesn't get us, then this will finish us off. Whoever has survived all the other stuff, this will finish us off. And so, anyway, I'll leave the link below if people want to read this. He's got his petition, not that it's going to do any good. And then the last paragraph says, many more mainstream scientists are dismissing the claims made by Furstenberg. Well, there you go. Because why? Because they have a paycheck that they don't want to lose, and they've been told not to speak out about certain things, and this is one of them. And it continues, the World Health Organization said there has been no evidence of detrimental effects caused by mobile phones despite the many studies conducted over the past 2 decades. So, you know, there you go. So if you're feeling nauseated, if you're feeling tired, if you get headaches, if you develop these symptoms that doctors can't diagnose, you know, it's probably from not, it doesn't have to even be 5G. I mean, I'm sensitive to Wi-Fi already, and you know, I can tell that there's something wrong, but nothing can be diagnosed. And the problem with all of this is that everybody's symptoms are going to look different depending on your genetics, your DNA, what kind of immune system you have, what kind of health you're in. If you've got a lot of metal in your body, it's going to affect you, like metal fillings and a lot of heavy metals in your body and toxins. You're going to be worse affected by it than if you if you didn't have all that stuff in you. And if you already have health problems or heart problems, you're just going to die faster, and it's just the way it is. So, and it says that that can increase cancer, heart disease, and diabetes. It says in a large part caused by electromagnetic pollution, etc., etc. So, you know, we've been living with this for a long time, and just because they're moving to the next generation, 5G means 5th generation, does not mean they're going to stop. It just means they're going to do it. And I present to you this next paper, and this is proof of why they're going to do it, and nothing anybody does will stop it. This is from the DoD, Department of Defense, Defense Technical Information Center, and this was a paper or a report that was produced in August of 1996. It's 53 pages, and this was declassified, and this was authored by the Air War College at Maxwell Air Force Base, Alabama. And the title is Weather as a Force Multiplier, Owning the Weather in 2025. So here's the abstract. I will read the abstract, and if you want to see the whole article and download it, you can click right there and go to the PDF file. So remember, this was in 1996, and before I go over this, I encourage people to look back through my videos and find 2 videos that I did on how to wreck the environment, and that was a chapter on in a book that was produced on environmental control, weather modification specifically, by Gordon MacDonald, and that was from 1968. So that was 50 years ago. And they took all of that and said, okay, sounds like a good way to do it, let's go for it. And so that's what happens when you're dealing with Satan. Here we go. In 2025, U.S. aerospace forces can own the weather by capitalizing on emerging technologies and focusing development of those technologies to war-fighting applications. Such a capability offers the warfighter tools to shape the battleship in ways never before possible. So I guess the battleship is planet Earth. It provides opportunities to impact operations across the full spectrum of conflict and is pertinent to all possible futures. The purpose of this paper is to outline a strategy for the use of a future weather modification system to achieve military objectives rather than to provide a detailed technical roadmap. A high-risk, high-reward endeavor, weather modification offers a dilemma not unlike the splitting of the atom. See? There you go. While some segments of society will always be reluctant to examine controversial issues such as weather modification, the tremendous military capabilities that could result from this field are ignored at our own peril. From enhancing friendly operations or disrupting those of the enemy via small-scale tailoring of natural weather patterns to complete dominance of global communications and counter space control, weather modification offers the war fighter a wide range of possible options to defeat or coerce an adversary. Some of the potential capabilities a weather modification system could provide to a war-fighting commander-in-chief, or CINC, are listed in Table 1. Technology advancements in 5 major areas are necessary for an integrated weather modification capability. 1. Advanced nonlinear modeling techniques. 2. Computational capability. They've got that. 3. Information gathering and transmission. They've got that. 4. A global sensor array. Well, that's what all those satellites up there are about. And 5. Weather intervention techniques. And they got that. And I'm sure they've got 1, advanced nonlinear modeling techniques, where they bring in lots of different things together and put them in the model. Some intervention tools exist today, and others may be developed and refined in the future. So that was in 1996. And then when you click on that, here's the PDF. You can download it. I recommend everybody download this. And this is actually December 9th, 1997, the actual one after it was uploaded, I guess. And this paper was downloaded from the internet, etc., etc. Approved for public release. Distribution is unlimited. There's the document number. Owning the weather in 2025. Well, that's only 6 years away. And so this research paper was presented to the Air Force. And here's the people who wrote it. All these people wrote it. They contributed to it. And here's their disclaimer. They said it's a study. Let me make this bigger. Designed to comply with a directive from the Chief of Staff of the Air Force to examine the concepts, capabilities, and technologies the United States will require, not would, but will require to remain the dominant air and space force in the future. Presented on June 17, 1996, this report was produced in the Department of Defense School Environment of Academic Freedom and in the interest of advancing concepts related to national defense. The views expressed in this report are those of the authors and do not reflect the official policy or position of the United States Air Force, Department of Defense, or the United States government. So that's their disclaimer. So let's go to Table 1. I mean, this looks like you could learn a lot from this paper. Look, artificial ionospheric mirrors, scenarios for telecommunications degradation, and then they've got their roadmaps. Crossed beam approach for generating an artificial ionospheric mirror. The military system for weather modification operations. I mean, they're serious. They're totally serious about this stuff. They're not messing around. Here's Table 1. Operational Capabilities Matrix. Degrade enemy forces and enhance friendly forces. So for the enemy forces, they would enhance precipitation, meaning rain or snow or a storm or whatever, for flood lines of communication, reduce PGM or reese effectiveness, decrease comfort level and morale, storm enhancement to deny operations, precipitation denial, meaning it would be a drought, to deny fresh water and to induce drought, and space weather, disrupt communications and radar, and disable and destroy space assets. I think that's where they're headed more than anything. Well, also to control everything on the planet, but this is about space weather, space wars, because they've been talking about that. And then fog and cloud removal, deny concealment, and increase vulnerability to PGM and reese, and detect hostile weather activities. So that would be if some other country is trying to do weather modification on us. So, and then here would be how it would enhance friendly forces. Precipitation avoidance, to maintain and improve LOC, maintain visibility, maintain comfort level and morale. Storm modification, choose battle space environment. Space weather, improve communication reliability, intercept enemy transmissions, and revitalize space assets. Fog and cloud generation to increase concealment. Fog and cloud removal, maintain airfield operations, enhance PGM effectiveness, and to defend against enemy capabilities. So they want total control of the globe, and this is what 5G will offer them. And what I see is that 5G is instrumental in them pulling all of this off, in this total world domination and control of everything. And don't kid yourself, it's not really one country against another country. They want total global domination and control of every person, every aspect, every little square inch of the planet. And they are planning on Wi-Fiing the whole planet. And if you think you're living in some little podunk place off the map somewhere and you're immune from it, think again. They're going to have this stuff everywhere because they want total global domination, global control. And that's the end game. And they're not going to stop until they get it. And that's because the people who are in charge, like I said, I don't think they're people, and they are run by the dark mind, and it's satanic. There's nothing good about this. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time on 5G in the future. I just see the handwriting on the wall and have seen how long this has been in the works, and I just see 5G as what they have to do. And there's nothing we can really do to stop it or to protect ourselves from it. You know, when you see some video or something saying, oh, you know, here's what you can do to protect yourself from all this wireless stuff. It's everywhere. You know, it's everywhere. And, you know, I don't even own a cell phone. I did for a couple of years and I got rid of it because I realized that it was messing things up for me, and I just didn't want to fry my brain. And And so, I don't even own a cell phone. And so, how many of you don't own a cell phone? And I mean, we have become dependent on this technology. That's the thing. They brought it in, and everyone is totally dependent on this technology, and it's not going to stop. So there's that. So I will leave links below to different things, and it's the way it is, and this is Satan's world, and it always has been, and that's just more obvious now because the restrainer hand has been removed. Like it says in Revelation that towards the end, right before Jesus comes back, that the restrainer hand will be removed and Satan and his minions will have free reign over the planet. And the purpose of this is so that they can capture as many souls as possible. So this is why I'm saying you better get your spiritual house in order while you still have a chance to think and to make that choice, consciously make that choice. So now one more article. So on a different note, on the weather front, this is from phys.org. This is from February 4th, and it says early spring rain boosts methane from thawing permafrost by 30%. And so there's a picture, and it says grassy plants called sedges grow across the surface of the bog that Newman and her team studied. So there's a bog, and methane's coming up. And it says Arctic permafrost is thawing as the Earth warms due to climate change, and also due to microwave beaming of the planet. We've seen pictures of that on NASA Worldview. I could go to NASA Worldview and go and find evidence of beaming any single day. I can find evidence of beaming, and I'm not going to keep doing that because it's just I don't want to spend my time showing all of that. But I just know it's happening. We're being beamed, we're being warmed up. People need to see a sci-fi movie called The Arrival. It's all about this. It's called The Arrival, not Arrival. Make sure you get The Arrival. It was from 1996 and tells all about this. And then there was a sequel to it too. In some cases, scientists predict that this thawing soil will release increasing amounts of methane, a potent greenhouse gas that is known to trap more heat in our planet's atmosphere. Now, a University of Washington-led team has found a new reason behind increased methane emissions from a thawing permafrost bog in Alaska. Early spring rainfall warms up the bog and promotes the growth of plants and methane-producing microbes. The team showed that early precipitation in 2016 warmed the bog about 3 weeks earlier than usual and increased the bog's methane emissions by 30% compared to previous years. These results were recently published in Geophysical Research Letters. So there you go. It's all heating up. And so we're going to get rain earlier, and so everything's going to melt earlier, and we're going to get more and more methane, and we got all these feedback loops, and it's over. It's over. This is the end. This is just the end, and it just breaks my heart to see these scientists, and they're so sincere, and they're like, oh, you know, it's 30% more than last year, and oh, we need to do something. Well, you know, nothing's going to happen. Nothing's going to change, because if it were going to change, it would have before now. That's all there is to it. They know. The powers that be know, and they don't care. They don't care about you. They don't care about me. They don't care about the bees. They don't care about the planet. They want total domination and total control for their own thing. And once they take it over and get rid of all the humans, then they can terraform it into whatever the hell they want. I don't know. I don't know what they want, but they don't want us, obviously. Well, I'm happy to leave. So there's that. So now let's go to comments, and these came in yesterday under my under my video from yesterday. Valhalla 56 says, "Thanks, Margo. Listening while I work on my bunker." You're welcome, Valhalla. Thanks for checking in. I didn't know you had a bunker. Anyway, I don't have a bunker. I don't want to survive. Diademglow says, "Thank you, Margo, for these vigilant reports. When you say the earthquake makers, I just got such a laugh out of that. No, it isn't funny, but that is what they are." It's true, Diademglow. You can see the difference in the numbers of earthquakes from how they increase during the week and they go down during the weekend. So it just makes me think that they're not at work those days. So thanks for being here. Fred Blogs says, "It's a minor complaint, Margo. It's just the sun never started one so early. I do watch space weather and have seen the northern lights many times. I've had a malignant melanoma decades ago. So I keep sun exposure to a minimum just to get a little vitamin D and no more. Thanks, Margo." Well, thank you, Fred Blogs. I appreciate you being here. I don't get out very much anymore, and I actually take a vitamin D supplement because I know I don't go out enough to get vitamin D from the sun. And I've actually seen reports where, you know, where the skies are sprayed so much now that people are getting vitamin D deficiencies because they can't get the sunlight through even when they go outside. So, you know, it's all over the place. And you can actually get your vitamin D level tested. It's a very simple blood test that's not very expensive. Like if you're going to do a wellness test or something, just throw a vitamin D test in there, and you can see where you're at on it and see if you need a supplement. Michael Berlin says, "Thanks, Margo, with much love." You're welcome, Michael. Oh, and Fred, thank you for being here. I appreciate you. And Michael, I appreciate you too. And then DDDSB says, "YouTube is an important resource for climate news. I've noticed that hardcore scientific content has become more buried or harder to seek out lately. It's because of their algorithms. That's what they do. Depending on what kind of search terms you put in when you load the video up, then it goes into the algorithms, and they're burying the real news and bringing the fake news to the top. That's my theory. For example, during the latest Australian heat wave, there seemed to be a distinct lack of posts regarding the event. The absolute lack of urgency and keeping the public in the dark in regard to what is imminent is shocking and confirms to me that our government is negligent and working against its own citizens." Well, that's what I've been saying. In other words, as I type, elites are prepping their luxury islands and bolt holes for the inevitable, while the people are left to watch football. No one will be prepared for the shocks as they hit, with no real conversation and buckets full of denial, hard to witness as a sentient being. I know. That's why we're here, and that's why we're doing what we're doing. And so I think that the people who come to my channel and other climate change channels and awareness channels, you know, you're really in the very, 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 very tiny minority, and you will know what's going on. It'll be a lot easier. So thank you for being here, and thank you for sharing. But, and you know, once your eyes have been opened, you can't go back. It's just, you just can't go back. That's been my experience. And then Michael Berlin says, Margo, I'm doing research on this topic with the Bible, King James, and at first, look, this lines up with the Bible perfectly. In Revelation, Matthew, Isaiah, Hosea, Ezekiel, and the other prophets, the people will die of pestilence, disease, starvation, thirst, and so on. With your permission, I would like to pass on with passages and verses in your future posts. Thank you for consideration of these passages, always wishing you the very best. And yes, Michael, I welcome this, and I really appreciate you asking. You know, that was very polite of you to ask before you just start sending a bunch of stuff that I have to look at. And just, you know, don't overload us with passages in one comment. You know, let's kind of do one here and one there, because you know, I think it's more effective that way. And but I appreciate you bringing this to the table, because I know, and I presented spiritual videos and read certain passages and books of the Bible, and like the whole book of Joel, it seems like, is about the times we're living in now. And in one of my videos, I just read the whole book of Joel. So yeah, thank you, and I look forward to your contributions on that. God bless you, and thank you for being here. Future A to B says, don't know if it is related to this episode, but I'm wondering if you can see any connection between the Arctic and Antarctica temperatures. It seems, when looking at Climate Reanalyzer, the abnormalities, that when warming is going on in the Arctic, it is colder than previous in Antarctica, and vice versa. That's a good observation, Future, and I wasn't aware of that. I'll start looking at that as we look at Climate Reanalyzer some more. And you know, it could be as one part of the globe is heating, the other part is cooling. You know, so it could be a balance, like a seesaw, going back and forth. But thank you for your observation, and thanks for being here. Sensible Hair says, dependable Margo, thank you. Well, I have to say, I really like your comment, because when I was working a day job, one of the things, whenever I had a job review, or, you know, like a yearly review or anything like that, one of the things that they marked me very high on was dependability. They knew that that I would always be there, and that if I wasn't going to be there, I would definitely let them know. And if I was given an assignment, I would finish the assignment, usually before the deadline, and that if I said I was going to do something, I would do something. Now, the boss didn't always, we didn't always see eye to eye on things and different ideas, but I was always rated top on dependability. So thank you, Sensible Hair, for noticing and for giving me a gold star on dependability. And then Robert Forsyth comments under one of my older videos. He says, right now, hundreds of thousands of acres of marshland in Siberia is bubbling methane, and the rate is increasing at an exponential rate. 10 years and Florida and New York will be flooded. Get your food storage and move to high ground. Yeah, and that goes right along with the that article I read about spring and methane and everything, and it's awful. And frankly, I don't think we're going to be here in 10 years. So, yeah, but thank you for your comment, Robert. I appreciate you being here, and yeah, we got problems all the way around. All the way around the world we got problems. Now I'm going to close out that browser. And now we're going to move over to earthquakes. Okay, what we have here is the USGS website for the last 24 hours, all magnitudes worldwide. And we're showing 202 earthquakes worldwide here. So that's quite a few. And then when we go to magnitude 2.5 and higher, for the last 24 hours we're showing 42 earthquakes worldwide. So let's see what earthquakes are about to come off the map real quick here, and we'll go to those first. This first one, okay, down in Puerto Rico, this was a 3.3. Let's just go ahead and go there now, and let me see if there's stuff on all magnitudes that we need to look at real quick. No, so we'll just go back over here, and well, let's start with the Dominican Republic. We saw a lot of activity here yesterday, and I think things are still building here. We're showing 16 earthquakes that are 2.5 magnitude and higher, and we're seeing them clustered here northeast of this Santo Domingo island, or this part of the island, the Dominican Republic part here, and then a few clustered above San Juan. So let's see how high these were. Most of these were, like, here's 3.3, 3.3, 2.7, 2.7, 3.1. Then these are under 2. Under 3. Here's a 3.0, 3.2, 3.2, 3.2. And those are under 3s. So let's look at all magnitudes now here. So that was 16 there. So let's zoom in down here to all magnitudes. We're seeing 21. So there were 5 that were under 2.5 magnitude. So 21 total in this area. So that's quite a lot of activity. And we're seeing them mainly clustered right in here, like in this line, right next to that red line. So now let's go down to New Zealand. Let's make our way around the world. We're going to start down here north of New Zealand. This one came in yesterday at 7:54 p.m. last night. They're saying it was a 4.7 and 196 kilometers deep. right next to this red line. And so they're saying it was 145 kilometers southwest of L'Esperance Rock, New Zealand. L'Esperance Rock is up here somewhere. There's Kermadec Islands. That says New Zealand, so I'm assuming it's from there. So there's that. It was out in the middle of the ocean, didn't cause any damage, but it's showing movement. Then coming over to Indonesia, we had a 5.0 near Tobelo. Here's Tobelo down here, but it was to the east of this little island. And this came in at 3:55 this morning. All of these times are Pacific time because it's easier for me to figure. 33 kilometers deep. So that one was in the ocean. Here's one that happened to the west of Sulawesi Barat, 4.8 that happened, it says near Malunda, Indonesia, came in last night at 8:23 p.m., 31 kilometers deep. Here's one on this little island. It was a 4.5 near Sumbawa Besar, Indonesia, that came in today at 2:14 p.m., 183 kilometers deep. Now that could cause some damage if you're living in a populated area that they don't have well-built structures. That could cause some damage. Now remember, there are volcanoes all along here, and we've talked about some of these. So this is a very active area, and so we got to keep an eye on all of this. So now let's go on up here to the Philippines. Here was one on land of 5.4 near, it says 1 kilometer south-southwest of Pindangan, Philippines, that happened this morning at 2:25 this morning, 123 kilometers deep. So I don't know if that caused any damage or injured anyone. So there it is next to that river. Here's Rosales over to the east, and Bayambang to the west, Urdaneta to the north. So 5.4, that's getting on up there, and that's big enough to cause damage if it was on land, which it was. Here's one off the coast of Taiwan, a 4.8. They're saying it's 63 kilometers southeast of Ishigaki, Japan, that came in at 3:11 this morning, 26 kilometers deep, right near that red line. Then over here in the Mariana Islands was a 5.3 near Farallon de Pajaros, Northern Mariana Islands, came in at 9:44 this morning, 4.9 kilometers deep, right on that red line. We're not seeing anything being reported in Africa, Europe, Asia, Russia, That's gone silent for right now. Now moving over to South America, we've got two in the same place right here in the ocean, west of Iquique, a 5.3 that came in at 9:56 this morning, 10.9 kilometers deep. And then a 4.5 at the same place that came in at 2:58 this afternoon, 14 kilometers deep. So they were in the ocean. They probably didn't do any damage. Now, here's one on this tectonic plate. 4.9 on the central mid-Atlantic ridge that came in at 11:28 this morning, right on that red line, and it was to northeast of Brazil. Now, so those are our international earthquakes that are being reported. There's probably more that are not being reported, but that's what we've got to work with. So now let's go over to Hawaii. And we've got 18 here, so we're seeing an uptick in number today. I'll call them off. 1.7, 1.8, 0.8, 2.3, 1.8, 2.1, 1.6, 2.2, 1.3, 1.7, 1.8, 1.3, 1.0, 2.1, 1.8, 2.0, 2.7 is the highest one, and then a 1.9. All on this mainland. So when you zoom in, we can see them clustered up here at Mauna Loa. Right there. We've got a cluster going on. That's where a whole lot of them happened. 7 of them happened right there. And then the biggest one, this 2.7, it says it was 15 kilometers south-southeast of Waikoloa Village. That one came in at 3:56 this afternoon, 21 kilometers deep. So, things are happening there. Now, moving on up to Alaska. Out here in the Aleutian Islands, we have a 4.4 near Amukta Island, Alaska, that came in at 1:50 this afternoon, 40 kilometers deep. Then, moving on up, here's one in near Kodiak, a 2.8 that came in at 3:26 this afternoon. So with all magnitudes, we're seeing 75 on the map today. Let's go to 2.5 magnitude and higher and see how many they have. They have 7, 2.5 magnitude and higher. We saw this one now, and we saw this one near Kodiak. We've got a 2.5 near Old Iliamna, 174 kilometers deep there. A 2.5 near Anchor Point. This one came in at 9:36 this morning, 75 kilometers deep. Then here in the area where that 7.1 or whatever happened a few weeks back, same area, there was a this one happened first, the 4.1. They're saying near Big Lake. It came in at 12:04 this afternoon, 39 kilometers deep. And then a 3.7, same place at 12:27, 42 kilometers deep. So these were 23 minutes apart, these two. And when we go to all magnitudes, we'll see a whole swarm down there. And then this one, a 2.7 near Healy, that came in at 1:23 this morning. So let's go back to all magnitudes now. We've got a few in this northern area. Let's look at those. Here's a 1.8 near Koktovik, a 1.5 near Arctic Village. Here's a 2.1 near Kobuk. Here's a 1.7 near Tanana. And then they're peppered around as we come down through the state, coming on down, following this mountain range. And now let's look. Okay, it looks like an uptick in number here. There's 63 that we're showing. Here's Anchorage, and just in this area around. So the majority are right here. Let's see how many are in this Anchorage area. There are 34 right here, and they're clustered right there. So that's where they've seen those swarms before, and the roads were coming apart and everything after that other earthquake. So there's Alaska. Now let's come on down to the United States, the lower 48. And we're going to start right here in Arkansas, a 1.3 near Harrison, Arkansas. This one came in at 3:58 this morning, 5.4 kilometers deep. Then over here in Oklahoma, this one is southwest of Oklahoma City, 2.5 near Chickasha, I guess that's how they say it, I don't know. This one came in at 5:21 this morning. And a 2.6 near Pawnee came in at 1:20 this morning. So that's no doubt from oil drilling, I would imagine. Now look, Yellowstone is eerily quiet. Eerily. Look at that. Nothing being reported at Yellowstone. Here in Utah, we've got this one near Enterprise, a 2.1 that came in at 12:41 this afternoon. Now let's go up to the northwest area, to this region. Here's a 2.2 magnitude caused by an explosion near Princeton, Canada. This one came in at 2:26 this afternoon, a minus 0.2 kilometers depth. So that was a sorry, hit the headset. That was a huge explosion to cause a 2.2 magnitude earthquake. So they were doing some kind of construction or blasting or something. Then down here in the Seattle area, here was a 2.4 near Cathcart. Came in at 5:13 this afternoon. Here's one, a 1.3 near Inatai. Came in at 2:21 this morning. Here's another explosion, a 2.0 magnitude created from this explosion near Castle Rock that came in at 4:32 this afternoon, a minus 0.6 kilometers depth. Here's a little one, 0.5 near Morton, Washington. Here's one on the lake, 0.6 near Morton, right on that little lake there. So we've got an uptick, it looks like, today. Another explosion, a 1.7 magnitude near Highland, Washington. This happened at 2:40 this afternoon, a minus 0.2 kilometers depth. It was southwest of Kennewick. Here's a small earthquake, a 0.7 near Richland, Washington, minus 0.3 kilometers depth. Now look, it's in the river. It's in the river, and it's a minus 0.3 kilometers depth. So I don't understand how that can be. It's not even, doesn't even look like it's in a little island in the river where it could be up in the ground. So it's above the ground, but it's in the river, and it's minus 0.3 kilometers depth. I still don't understand these things. Then another explosion. Here's a 1.6 magnitude that was near Ritzville that happened at 9:51 this morning, of minus 0.5 kilometers depth. So a lot of blasting and explosion. How many explosions here did we show? A lot. Let me get that Canada one. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 explosions. That's pretty serious. They're serious about their working, I guess. Oh well. Now let's go to Northern California, and we'll move across Nevada and then come back around. We've had 2 here, 4.4 near Blue Lake that came in this morning at 10:23, 25 kilometers depth, and a 2.6, same place, that came in at 10:35, 25 kilometers depth. So these were 12 minutes apart. And I'm thinking this could be related to this subduction zone that we're watching, this Cascadia subduction zone. And I think that that's related to that. Let's look at the geysers. We've only got 5 here today. 1.0 up to 1.7. 1.7 is the highest. So only 5 there today. Let's see what else we have in Northern California. Nothing. Now moving over to Reno, the Reno area. We've got 2 little ones up here in the mountains, in between Truckee and Reno. A 0.6 and a 0.5. So little bitty ones there. Then northwest of Reno was a 0.3 at Cold Springs. And then up here, where's that? Okay, it's not at Pyramid Lake. It's this is Pyramid Highway. This is the road that goes from Sparks all the way. It goes a straight line out to Pyramid Lake, and it's called Pyramid Highway. So here was a 0.9 out at Spanish Springs at 6:45 this morning, and a 0.3 at Spanish Springs at 7:33 this morning. Looks like this was right next to the road. It's developed. I mean, this area, it's developed out there. Not all the way out to the lake, but pretty far out. It's developed pretty far out. You'd be surprised. And they just sprung up. I mean, these developments just spring up overnight. Okay, nothing else there. Here's one to the east of Fernley. 1.1. This came in last night at 11:32 p.m. Now this was on Highway 50 between Fernley and Fallon, it looks like. I think that's Highway 50. Yeah. Farm District Road. Well, it's not a highway. It's a 2-lane road, but it's paved. This is 80 Interstate 80 runs from Reno, Sparks through Fernley, and then on up. Then it kind of veers off and goes to Lovelock and so forth. So let's see what else we've got. Uh-oh, look up here. Here's a 1.6 near Battle Mountain. We don't see them very often up there. This one came in last night at 8:55 p.m. 1.6. That's not big enough to do any damage, but it's just unusual to see it there. Then, down here at Walker Lake was a 2.4. This is Walker Lake. This is near Hawthorne. Here's the town of Hawthorne. This one came in at 7:13 this morning. Now we do normally see activity around Walker Lake and Hawthorne. Not anything that big. Normally we see these little ones like a 0.2. Then moving on across, here's another explosion, a 1.8 near Gabbs. This one happened at 2:56 this afternoon, 0 kilometers depth. Then we've got a couple right here at Reveille Range again, 1.4 and a 1.8. Then down here, brand new, a 2.0 near Alamo. And then a couple of little ones down here. So this area down here is related to the Nevada test site in Area 51. And then all around in Nevada is mining. A lot of mining. Lots and lots of mining. Gold mining. All kinds of mining. Then here was a 0.9 just across the border into California. It came in at 2 o'clock this morning. Now let's stay on this east side of California today first and see what we've got. Here's a 1.2 near Murphy's. Now let's look at Mammoth Lakes. We've got only 3 here today. 0.5, 0.5, and a 1.4. By the way, on the local weather this morning, they said that Mammoth Lakes, the Mammoth Mountain, got 11 feet of snow in our last storm. So that's a lot. So that's right down here where we're looking at Mammoth Lakes. Mammoth Mountain is right down here in this area. I'm not sure where it is, but anyway, it's right down here where they got 11 feet of snow. More than I would like. I wouldn't want to shovel all that. Owens Valley, 1.3 near Big Pine. Here's 1.5 near Olancha. Oh, here's a little one in Death Valley, 0.1. Now let's come back up, and I think I got that one. Yeah, Murphy's. Okay, we got the geysers now down here in San Francisco area. Look, this one was right next to the bay of 1.5 near Union City. This came in at 110 this morning. Now those 1s and 2s you're probably not going to feel. You can feel a 3. But 1s and 2s normally you won't feel. Here we go down along the San Andreas fault line. Here's a 0.8 near Parkfield. Well, that's eerily quiet coming down that San Andreas fault. 1.7 near Los Olivos at 1:39 this morning. Now coming down into Southern California, here's Los Angeles. So let's see if we can back out and get them all on the map. Here's one down in Baja, 3.3. That's a pretty good size. You would feel that. Near Guadalupe, Victoria, Baja California, Mexico. This one came in at 1:07 this afternoon, 24 kilometers deep. Here's a quarry blast, a 1.7 near Los Algodones in the Chocolate Mountains. This one happened at, was a 1.7 magnitude from a quarry blast that happened at 2:09 this afternoon, minus 0.3 kilometers depth. So we're seeing 26 on the map right here. From up here, north of Santa Clarita, 1.4 near Lake Hughes, to down here to our quarry blast, 26. Most of them were 1s and under, and they're just peppered around. And then let's see how many are in this Kauai area today. 16, including these little ones. So 16, including this cluster here. So I think that covers California. I think that covers everything. Oh, I missed that one. A 2.5 near Tehachapi. This happened at 11:52 this morning. I got that one. I got that one. Oh, look, here's one right by San Diego, south of San Diego, a 1.6 near Imperial Beach. That happened last night at 7:14 p.m. So let's back out and see if anything significant has come in while we were doing this. We saw that 4.5 near General Luna at the Philippines, I think. Did we see that? Yeah. I think we saw that. That one came in at 4:38 this afternoon, in case I missed it. Well, we're still having activity, it looks like, over here in the Dominican Republic. These red dots are the more recent ones. So we're still seeing stuff going on over here. We've got stuff coming in the northwest, like right there, 2.0 near Cathcart, and stuff coming up here in Alaska. So those are small. So I think that's it for our report today. Thank you for tuning in, and I do recommend everyone get their spiritual houses in order while you still have time. I love you all very much, and until next time, God bless you. Go in peace, and good night.